The auction listing had my father's handwriting still visible in the corner of one photograph. I recognized it before I even read the title. First edition Pokémon cards, complete set, mint condition, sold as a lot for $11,000. My father collected those cards with me every weekend for 3 years before he died. I kept that box sealed in a fireproof safe in my closet for over a decade, or at least I thought I did. My name is Renata Cole. I was 31 years old, and the night I found that listing was the night I learned my own sister had emptied my safe, piece by piece, to pay for a wedding in Santorini. Before I tell you what I found when I finally opened that safe myself, drop a comment and let me know where in the world you are watching this from tonight. I always love seeing how far these stories travel. My sister Paige and I grew up close, closer than most sisters I knew. She was 2 years younger, and after our father passed when I was 19, I became something between an older sister and a second mother to her. I paid part of her college tuition. I co-signed her first apartment lease. When she got engaged to a man named Trent, I was genuinely thrilled for her, even when the wedding planning started sounding less like a celebration and more like a competition with every influencer she followed online. The venue alone cost $40,000. Then came the custom gown, the private chef, the fireworks display over the water, the matching robes for 12 bridesmaids. I watched the number climb every time she mentioned it, and I watched her and Trent's combined income clearly not climb with it. When I asked how they were affording it, she always laughed and said something vague about a wedding loan and a generous aunt on Trent's side. Stay with me, because the moment I opened that safe and found it half empty is the exact moment this story stopped being about a wedding and started being about a betrayal that had been happening under my own roof for months. I hadn't opened that safe in almost a year. I kept my father's collection there, along with some old family documents I rarely needed. But something about that auction listing gnawed at me for 3 straight days, so I finally went home on a Tuesday afternoon and unlocked it. The Pokémon cards were gone completely. So was a signed rookie baseball card my father won in a bet decades earlier. So was a small velvet pouch that used to hold my grandmother's antique coin collection. The one item in that safe I genuinely could not put a price on because it was never really about money to begin with. What remained was a folder. Inside the folder were printed shipping labels, 3 of them, all addressed from our childhood home to a consignment shop 2 states away. The name on the sender line was Paige Cole. I called her immediately, and she picked up laughing about cake tastings before I said a single word. I asked her plainly whether she had been inside my safe. There was a pause just long enough to answer the question before she even opened her mouth. She said she could explain everything, that she never meant for me to find out this way, that she was always planning to pay me back once the wedding money settled. I asked her how she even got into a locked fireproof safe in the first place. She admitted she still had the code from years earlier, back when our father first showed us both how to use it, and she assumed I had forgotten she knew it too. I hadn't forgotten. I had simply trusted her enough never to think about it. Here's something I genuinely want your opinion on in the comments. If your own sibling stole something irreplaceable from you, something with no real dollar value attached to the person it actually belonged to, would a full refund ever really make that right in your eyes? I'm curious where you all land on this. I spent the next several days doing something I never imagined I would have to do to my own sister. I tracked every single item. The consignment shop confirmed 3 separate drop-offs over 4 months, always timed suspiciously close to wedding deposit deadlines Paige had posted about online. The Pokémon set had already resold to a private collector in another country, completely untraceable at that point. The baseball card was still sitting in the shop's inventory, unsold, waiting for a buyer willing to pay their asking price. My grandmother's coins had gone to a small pawn shop instead, sold for a fraction of what they were actually worth, because whoever sold them clearly had no idea what she was holding. I paid to get the baseball card back immediately. I could not save the Pokémon cards. My grandmother's coins I eventually tracked down through the pawn shop's own sales records, though half of them had already been melted down for scrap value before anyone realized what they actually were. Paige begged me not to say anything to the rest of the family before the wedding. She said it would destroy everyone's mood, that our mother would never forgive her, that Trent's parents were already flying in and did not need drama attached to their son's wedding week. She offered to pay me back slowly after the honeymoon, once things settled financially. I told her I needed time to think. What I actually did with that time was hire an attorney and document everything properly, because I understood by then that an apology built entirely around timing was never really an apology at all. It was simply a request for me to stay quiet a little longer. The wedding took place on a Saturday evening on a private beach in Santorini. I flew out anyway, because by then I had already decided exactly what I intended to do, and I was not going to let her assume my silence just because I showed up smiling in photos beforehand. During the reception, right after the toasts finished, and before the first dance began, I asked for the microphone. Paige's face changed the moment she saw me holding it, because some part of her clearly understood what was coming. I did not scream. I did not call her a thief in front of 120 guests, although every word of that description would have been accurate. I simply thanked everyone for coming, congratulated my sister and her new husband, and then said one sentence that I had rehearsed on the flight over. I told the room that the beautiful venue they were all enjoying tonight had partly been funded by selling our late father's memory out from under me without my knowledge or consent, and that I hoped everyone here would remember that generosity sometimes gets built on top of someone else's loss. Then I handed the microphone back and sat down. The room did not erupt into chaos the way movies make you expect. It went quiet instead, the kind of quiet that says more than shouting ever could. Trent's mother later told me privately that she had wondered for months where all the extra money kept coming from. My own mother did not speak to me again until the following morning, furious that I had chosen that moment, that location, that microphone. I understood her anger. I even understood Paige's anger, the version she screamed at me in the hotel lobby afterward, asking how I could destroy her wedding over some old cards and coins that never should have mattered that much to begin with. I told her it was never really about the cards. It was about being trusted enough to keep something safe, and choosing instead to become the exact reason it wasn't. Paige and I did not speak for almost a year after that wedding. She eventually paid back a portion of what she took, though nowhere near the full sentimental worth, because some things genuinely cannot be repriced once they're gone. We are slowly rebuilding something now, carefully, without either of us pretending that evening on the beach never happened. I don't regret standing up with that microphone in my hand. I regret that it was ever necessary in the first place. If this story stayed with you, subscribe to Unheard Drama Stories and let me know in the comments where you're watching from, along with whether you think I went too far or whether Paige simply finally faced the moment she had been avoiding for months.